Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jersey and today we are gonna continue our work from our previous video. So there were a couple sections that I know I wasn't happy that we saw at the end of the video. So I walked on this area trying to visualize what was gonna work better, how I was gonna make this curve happen. And what I ended up doing was no more curve. No more road that leads all the way to this bridge. So what we're gonna do is something a little bit nicer, a little bit something more pleasing to the eye, and basically it's gonna be a nice road, a nice little brick road that's gonna go from that bridge all the way to the little plaza that we're building right here. Because today we are moving another NPC to the coastal town, and the NPC is John. John is finally moving to the coastal town. He's gonna have his own little area. This is it's a little small. It's something that maybe in the future we may want to redo, but at the end I think the build came out really good. I think it fits the atmosphere that we are creating in the coastal town, and I can't wait until we get to that point where we were decorating the area of John. It was simple, but I liked it at the very end. Okay, so the other idea that I came up with was, okay, so we're gonna have a little brick walkway that's gonna lead and attach to the little plaza right here, right? So the next step was what I wanted to do here. So I went with a couple of different ideas. Maybe I was thinking maybe I take off the road, no more road. Maybe I do cement. Maybe I do a little garden area. And then the next thing that hit me was, you know what could work here very well? A parking lot. So I made my first parking lot in the little volleyball court area that we created, right? It was small, very tiny, but it's something that brought to make sense. If we're driving vehicles, if we're driving around, if we want to go to the pool area that's back here, we want to make it to John's. So we should have a little parking lot. I don't need something huge and big, you know, that's gonna use too much space. But I was thinking, okay, so I have this road that goes around, goes up the bridges, over the other bridge, and then gets to the cul-de-sac where the pool's at. So we have our sidewalks, right? So I was thinking, maybe I can do a little parking lot. And then once I decided on that, then we're gonna see how I start working that area to make it a parking lot. It's simple, easy to do. I think it brings something more aesthetic to the island, and I think it looks very, very sharp. Okay, so the other thing that was happening as I was thinking and trying to rearrange this area, I noticed that I wanted a little bit more space right here because I want the two lane to actually attach to the bridge that we have on the side. So when we do the whole brick pass, I want the middle of the brick of the walkway, not the sidewalk anymore, but the rest of the pathing to lead into here. I wanted just to continue, not to hit the fence and become one. It's just nitpicking, right? It's just a little bit design nitpick on my end. So basically what I needed to do, it was push forward the fence one more, pushes everything that I just did in the previous video. We're just gonna push it one more square out. So we're gonna clear this up, and right now what I went with was the brick, just to match it. Just it's kind of part of the extension. Like always, if this is not something that you like, you don't like the brick, you feel like the brick doesn't belong here, that's gonna be like I always say in every video, it's gonna be taste, it's gonna be choice, it's gonna see what's aesthetically more pleasing to your eye, what matches well. Now I've been thinking if I myself want to keep the brick path. I think it looks good at the moment. I'm very happy with the end result. With the update coming on, what we're gonna get, maybe we tweak it, maybe we don't, maybe I do something else different, but at this moment, at this very specific moment, I left the brick with the cement tiles on the side to provide some sidewalks on it. I think at the very end, that little pathway is gonna look really nice. It fits aesthetically with everything that I'm building at the moment, so I think it's just gonna be very, very good. Okay, so what I did there, I took one more row of the dirt, right? That wall of dirt. We just took it down because I want to add some fencing. At first, I wasn't gonna add any fencing. I was just gonna, at this point right here, I wasn't thinking yet of parking lot. It's more like a dead end street, like boom, it just ends, right? And that was it. And then once I decided I'm gonna do a parking lot, I decided to take part of that sidewalk off and just add the fence, and we'll see that when we get there. And don't forget, this is layouts, and I want you guys to use this for you. If you want a parking lot, do the parking lot. If you wanna make it a road, you wanna make it something else, I just want to provide for you guys a template, a little layout that you guys, if you guys are stuck in a specific way in your islands, you can use this as an inspiration, as a bridge point to go forward. And like always, in every video that I have created, if you don't know exactly what to do and you're following along, you want to duplicate it, everything to the last little detail, do it. Because I know as you are duplicating the builds, I know at some point your own inspiration is gonna kick in, your own design, your own way to items and decorations is gonna come in, and then it's gonna start making your build very different than mine. And I'm always get excited about that when people tell me they just took inspiration and then they tweak the build and they make it their own, and that's just always so great to hear. Okay, so in that side I'm doing the same thing, right? I'm just pushing everything one more to the front again, because now I need to match this on this side. At the same time, that actually helped a little bit more because the festive light actually fit better now. I feel like they were a little too much forward, now they're a little more back. I just feel like everything worked out a lot better once the scenario. And it's funny how that stuff happens sometimes. Your real life, you don't see it at that very moment, and it's not like it looked bad. But once I was able to push it back, I realized like, oh wow, now this actually looks a little better. And it just helped. Okay, so here what we're gonna try to do is, it's more of a kind of little natural fence right here. We're gonna do a little of the hedges just to bring a little bit of extra greenery against the sand. And basically what I'm doing is just alternating the palm trees, right? And this is something that I started doing more as we started doing the pool area and the cul-de-sac, and everything, the way it's been growing, it's looking really good. Like, I've been liking the spacing in between, I've been liking the different type of palm trees, and just the way it looks. Doesn't matter where I'm standing, on the air, jet skis, just walking around, everything feels really great. So here it's the same thing that I've been doing in all the last couple previous videos, right? It's just alternating some of the greenery. Okay, I'm gonna put bushes here, maybe I put a flower over here. Sometimes I can repeat the pattern, sometimes I'm gonna break the pattern. So here, have free range on yourself. If you see something that you like, go ahead and imitate it. If you don't like what I'm using, go ahead and change it. Right now, like I've been explaining, I'm in the coastal town, so I've been using a lot of the tropical natural materials that I've been getting in this area. It just fits very well. So we see a lot of purple, but I've been adding this little yellow right now in the big bushes, the yellow, just to break it up, just to give a little more color. I haven't brought any other color in. I haven't brought any red or any other different. I'm keeping it just kind of green, purple, and yellow at the moment. Okay, so like always, we're gonna walk it, we're gonna look at it. I'm just checking things, the way everything is looking, everything is feel, and then we're gonna now work on this little section over here. So at first, what I was thinking in this little corner here that we're gonna work on is, I was thinking at first like, okay, I can maybe want to make a little bench area. Like if you're walking on the sidewalk, and you know sometimes in towns and in city we got some benches just along the sidewalks, along the little area. So I kind of wanted to create this little corner, right? This little corner right here that will work for a sitting area, and at the same time will have a nice viewpoint. The spacing wasn't the best spacing. I wasn't gonna have enough in between the areas. It just made it really tiny in certain points if we were trying to use the jet ski, use the boat. And you're gonna see that I start kind of tweaking it, and to the point that I actually kind of take it off, leave it just a little wider. But then I kind of did this alternating with the fences and all that in that area. And then when we curved it around just a little, we added a little palm tree, we added something at the end of the bridge, and then I feel like that looked really good. So after I finished that little corner, I came over here where I'm standing right now, and I wanted to make this corner the same thing that we'll be doing in the cul-de-sac, the same thing we do with the pool area, is coming up with a good way to alternate the palm trees, the bushes, the different types of plants that we're using, and kind of make a little curving scenario. And as I'm planting this, it's just guessing. There's no science, there's not a way that I was following anything. This is just very spontaneous planting, just thinking what will look good. And once I felt like let me put this one here, let me put this here. The palm trees kind of alternate just a little bit, as you can tell. Coconut, then we went with the other one, and then a coconut again, and then the palm seed, and we kind of alternate those. And the other ones in between, I just put a bush, maybe put the yellow, then put the purple, put the fern, and just kind of keep alternating. That's the best way that I've been approaching this. Is if you like one more particular, you can use more of that one. If you like more of the other one, use the other one. And at the same time, like always, if you guys want to bring real trees into the coastal town in a specific area, go ahead and do it. It's your build, it's your design. Do what makes you happy when you're playing the game, especially when you're decorating. I know a lot of times it can get frustrating because we want to do something that looks amazing, that looks great, and then we are concerned about other people, what they're gonna think when they see the build. But at the end, it's your build, it's your design, it's your island. Just make it the way that looks good, and then if you need help, this why the videos are here, is for you guys to see, get inspired, something clicks, and then you just imitate it and then add what you want best. So I was looking at that area again, and you can tell I'm just looking. I'm not too convinced about it just yet, but I kind of left it still, but it's gonna come off and all that. So I was thinking maybe doing something there, adding again kind of like that little wall, but I wasn't sure just yet. So I put it in. I didn't like it, so I took it off. And the reason that I didn't like it is because the hedges were gonna be the same level. So I gotta walk it again in the future and see if I wanna raise the hedges. But if I raise the hedges, they're not gonna be lower than the fence. So I don't know. I gotta play around with it. I wanna see what I wanna do or not, or take one and leave the other. So that's gonna be a different type of approach once I get to that. Again, it may be on my little off camera time, but if I do any changes in that particular front area, I will show you in a different walkthrough and talk about the changes that we did. Okay, so I came back here. So before I started doing the video, before I started deciding on the changes that I wanted to do, I walked the whole area once again because I wanted to see how everything felt. The weekend came, the weekend went. We had amazing news about the spring update. Everybody's excited. It's all over the place. Everybody's talking about it. So I finally had some time. I sat down and I walked the area. And I looked at everything that I was building, the way the layout was coming in, and what I didn't like, what wasn't making me happy, what wasn't feeling just right. And I kind of wrote it down in this little post-it notebook that I have right here. And I just wrote down what I saw that I didn't like. And one of the other sections that I didn't like at all was this corner here. It just felt not right. And I think what the more that I thought about it, I thought about that maybe I just needed a little bit more completion, like maybe extended it just a little bit more, add some more greenery. And then once I started adding that little greenery, I noticed that now around the cul-de-sac, it fell to just, I didn't have enough of just trees or palm trees and just not enough landscaping, right, to make it feel alive or believable or just full. And so I started working in this corner because I wanted to fix this before I start going to the other area. So these little details that I'm working on are just the details that wasn't making me happy from the previous video, that I know it wasn't feeling right. It needed a little love, a little TLC, and let's just work on it, let's just fix it. And I took it step by step, just feeling it slowly, adding the dirt, imagining where I wanted to add these little bushes, flower, palm trees, and see if I liked it. I didn't know if I wanted to go, maybe I needed to go with a fence or just something different, but I went ahead, I went with the palm trees, with the bushes, just to do another landscape arrangement. And once I did that, and once I started adding this and making this little area feel a little more full, so you have the cul-de-sac and you have a little more than just 2 tiles. At first I thought 2 tiles was perfect because I wanted to have more water on the side, but the more I looked at it, the more I was walking around, the more I was flying around the island, I was not convinced that I like what I was seeing. So once I did this, and now like I feel, even looking at it right now, like where I'm standing, that corner, it just feel more like now we got more sand, more it just feels like it completes more of the area. And of course, like always, if you're looking at it and maybe for you, you're like, I know, I like it the other way, I like to see more of the water, more of the ocean. And those are the samples that I always like to bring up, because it's always going to be about taste. It's always going to be the approach, what you like as a person, as a designer, as a builder, as a creator. All of that is always going to be part of you, and what makes you happy and what you like, the colors, the scheme, is going to be part of your design, you know. So when you're building, when you're creating, when you're designing, when you're putting items, always remember that. Always remember that your taste is always going to be different than other people, and because I don't want you ever to be discouraged when you're placing items, and then when you're watching other creators and other streamers and other videos, and then you feel, oh, why can't this, my island doesn't look like that, or doesn't look like this, or why does his material looks better than mine? And no, because all of these are just learning tools, right? We're just learning together how to do this, and right now that's why I go sometimes a little more in detail in my builds, in my process, because sometimes it just happens, sometimes it's kind of natural, and sometimes it's just like I've been telling you when I'm planting all these trees. It's just putting one here, there, let them grow, don't like it, come back, cut it down, put something else. So what I felt over here was, now I wanted something else more. I didn't want to keep planting plants. I didn't want to add just another flower, and I wish we could just place rocks by ourselves, like we have a rock and we can place it so to bring something else. But what I thought is something that I did a while back in the Franklin area. When we did his area, I had this little fence, but when you put it by itself, it just looks just wood just sticking out on the ground. And I think this gives it that final look that I wanted. Like maybe it's a tree that got cut down, maybe it's just dead, it's dying, maybe they use those things for something else, maybe it's just naturally there, just sitting there. I don't know. It's something that I know I see at the beach, I see at rivers, even just places just like that, just that little wood just sticking off the ground. And once I place it in, it gives that brown tone that's very dark compared with everything with the palm trees and all of that is more light. And I think it worked out really, really well. I think for my taste, for my style, I think it just felt perfectly, and just gave that final area the final touch that I needed. So after I finally was able to move from there, now I came back over here. So this is another corner that I wanted to fill in. And as you're seeing in this particular video, we're doing a lot of landscaping. It's just a lot of filler spots that we're doing, and just to make it look prettier. So here, basically, since I had like just a little space, I went with the bush in the front, put 2 on the side, then I put the palm tree right in the back, and then 2 more things on the other side, and then just imitating each side of the other one. So it just, I don't know, it felt like that was the right thing to do, the right way to approach it. And as they grew in, I really did ended up liking it, the way everything grown, and it stayed. And one thing that I'm very happy once we get to the very final end of the video is that it's like the landscaping in the whole area right here, it actually came out really good, and I was really enjoying it. And I'm a little proud of myself, because this is one of those areas that I always feel like it's a little bit of my weakness, you know, rearranging the trees or rearranging flowers, bushes, and all of that. And my system is not perfect, it's really just thrown out there, but I do feel like it actually is looking very, very good, so I'm very happy about that. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to do is, I didn't want to place the building and didn't feel right just to be flat completely, so I wanted the building to be sitting just in a little bit elevated little platform. So that's what I did right here. I just kind of just raised it up, put it a little higher. That way it just feel like there's a little bit more towards the build. And right here, where we're working, all of this is gonna start changing. It's gonna go through like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different style designs. Just out of nowhere, we go from this to add a little more level, to then bring it all out, to put the stairs here. Now let's move over here the stair. Then we add a dock to it. It just went through some builds, some improvement as I went along. But at the end result, once again, I ended up liking it. I think if I was doing this build again and in another spot, I would definitely go a little bit bigger, because I still had like more ideas to how to decorate more of the John area. But those ideas that I had was for the old town, and then when I moved into the coastal town, then the coastal town had come out with a little bit different style design. So mainly, if you've seen my early videos, right, I was working in another town, and that town was a lot bigger, so the areas were a lot bigger. Now the coastal town, I've been trying to make him more realistic in the sense of proportional to the character's size. So not that the build can be this big, but I wanted to be able this time around, unless the design calls for something really big on purpose, I wanted the town to feel very, very proportional to the character. And then I wanted to be able to see more of the town. If I'm standing here, I want to be able to see things far away, not that the area is so big that you can see nothing else besides the area. And again, that's gonna go depending on what you're trying to design, what you're trying to do, if you're trying to do something really big or not. And like I stated before, if I was gonna repeat this build again, I will do probably John just a little bit bigger, so I can have a little more space to add a couple more other ideas that I was coming up at the moment. But at the end, it does fit the vibe that I'm going this with the coastal town, because it's a little bit bigger than Franklin's place, but it's not so big that it's just overtaking a big portion of the town. At the same time, that's not a bad thing. It's just I'm trying to make the coastal town fit together, in every area. So we got the pool area, we got the boat dock, we got the Franklin's area, we got the rental place on the front of the town, and now we got John's Good. And I think everything truly is falling into place, so I'm very happy the way it's coming out. So here we clean up finally this little section that I finally caved in. I was like, you know what, this looks really bad. But as you can see, I left the palm tree, one palm tree sitting right there. At first I was gonna take it out, I was gonna leave it for last, but I ended up actually liking it. And I feel like if you were, if you decide to go in a jet ski or something, and then you can take it either one way or the other as you're curving in, I don't know, it just gave it something. I ended up liking it. This is one of those things that it may not make sense to you, but I like it. I just like that little palm tree. It just happened to grow right there, and there was something about it. I liked it, I left it, and it's different, and it doesn't make any sense. It's just gonna take a little more space, but like I said, I ended up liking it, so I just left it there. So here is where I did a little bit more of the fence, and basically what my mind went through is I'm matching the style of the fence that I have back here that you see right there. So I basically matched it on the front and just kind of curved that in. And once I curved that in, I think that looked really well. It just now that this section is vibing, is everything is working together, it's fitting. It's just slowly, and it takes time to get to this point. So we just keep redoing, we just keep adding, taking off, adding, taking off, but then slowly everything's coming together. So this is when finally I was thinking, you know what? I can make the parking lot. I remember when I did it on the volleyball court, so I was like, you know what? And that looked really nice, and it brought something to the area. something to the build, and a little more realism that you can be somewhere where you can get there and park. So I'm imagining that I can come here, park the motorbike, and just park it, and then we got the sidewalks, right? And then I can go all the way to John's if I wanted to, or I can take the sidewalk or just walk the street and walk it and get to the pool area. And once I thought about it like that, I was like, yes, I think this really makes sense, because where I'm gonna put all these motorbikes, or where are the villagers and the people are gonna be putting their vehicles if they're coming over, if they're not walking and they're riding their motorbikes, or if we get all the future vehicles in Dinkum, where are they gonna park, you know? And that's when it hit me, and a parking lot can add something really great. And that's something that I've been seeing, something that I've been getting inspired from other creators, that they're doing their own little parking lots, and it just worked out great. And once I did it, I really fell in love with it. And just seeing it right here, you can kind of see it a little bit in the background. It looks good and all of that, and then it worked out great. And I think everybody's, in a way, if it fits on your area. And I think parking lots can be a really good tool as a designer if you need a filler area, and a parking lot makes sense, because it doesn't take much to make the parking lot. Couple lines, little square, you put a little fence, and you're good to go. And then if you put it in a place that is gonna help your build the area, something that it needs, but you don't know what to do, and you already got a lot of trees everywhere, and you got this, and man, I already got like 3-4 seating areas in different places already. Then a parking lot can work really great, and that's something that I'm branching into. My first town, no parking lot. I wasn't thinking like that. But as we are watching other creators, as you guys are watching my videos, and you guys are watching other creators, and I'm watching other creators and being involved in their stream, or watching their videos, leaving them comments, because they're inspiring me to approach different, design different, think different. Then I think this is something that I think everybody should, in a way, if it fits your style and your build. And don't forget, I'm making the parking lot like this, but you can make something similar to this that doesn't have to be a parking lot. It could be just a way where people put a motorbike, but you can make it out of wood. You can make it just out of cement, just complete cement tile. So you don't have to use the black cobblestone. It just happened that we have those lines that we can kind of make parking lots to make it look like a parking lot. And all of that I don't know. It just works great. I like it. It's just something that I know I'm going to be approaching more slowly. And I think it's just a great little build to, if you need to fill up a space and you can put a parking lot. It's great. Okay, so the cul-de-sac. So I still wanted to do something here, right? And it came out smaller. It's not as big as the other one. And the only thing that I could think of right away was the fountain. But I did not like it. Nothing was feeling right. Didn't like it. I thought about, maybe, can I expand this? Can I not? And at the end, for me, the best way to approach this part, and the best solution was that just fill it and leave it just the way it is. Nothing in the middle. A lot of cul-de-sacs don't have anything in the middle. I've seen the pictures. We talked about it last time when we were building our cul-de-sac. So you know what? In this particular one, the cul-de-sac is small enough. It's just you go around and you get out. I don't need nothing in the middle. The fountain, they just didn't feel right. And by leaving it blank, it looks good. And now the more I look at it, the more happy I am. Doesn't need anything else. So now that I fixed the cul-de-sac, and now that part is done, so here we are. We're back at John's place. We're on this area again, and we're gonna try to fix this a little bit more. So I wanted to add a bulletin board, because I like bulletin boards. You see me using them a lot in my builds. The bulletin board it just gives something extra. And at the same time, you don't have to go everywhere. If you want to go to a bulletin board, you can go anywhere in my towns and find one. But I think it just gives it something at night, because it has that little light, and at the same time it just gives it a little bit extra touch, and just something more to view, something more for designing, and it just work out great. And I love the bulletin board, and it's so easy to make, and it's just another great tool for designing. It just works great, you can use it, and it's something that you can put on almost every bill. Every bill should almost have a bulletin board, because I do believe that they give that extra to the bill. Okay, so now I wanted to do a little bit of different light. So instead of doing the copper lights just where John's at, I went with the normal black ones, just the normal street lights, just to give it something a little bit different. I do feel like it looks good in my eyes. I do feel like it looks good. Now if you're looking at it, once again, you don't like it, doesn't match, that's okay. Just put the one that you like that will match the style that you're building. Okay, and this is one of the first time, one of the many times right here that you're gonna see that we are gonna be redoing the John's area. In this little plaza that I built, I was trying to find out the best way that it feels right. So at first I was like, okay, well, let me now extend it all the way. Let me just raise everything, because that way feels more big. But then the other thing that I wasn't liking was the front. Like it was now too close, and it was just going down, and I had to play with that. And this particular John bill, I had to play around with it into the point that for me, I felt at peace with what we were building. And it just was basically just going back and forth, raising here, lowering here. And then I thought about, okay, what if I do a deck and bring the deck into the bill, and then have a multi-layer difference with stairs going up, and then move the bulletin board. And as we're gonna see, and it's something that I want you guys to see, that it takes time to find the right build that's gonna work for you. And this is one of those examples. Now the other problem that I was having now, and this is just me completely, is all that brick, and then going up in the brick, I was not in love with it. It wasn't working with me. I needed a little separation. I just needed something else. So for me, what I could do was do the cement just at the edge of the border, and then it turns to brick again, just to give it something else. Now brick on brick doesn't look bad, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, ooh, why did he put the cement? That just doesn't look good. It's for me, it looks good. I just couldn't take the brick, hitting the brick for whatever reason, and at least in this particular build, it wasn't working. And so once I put the cement, it worked for me. I felt like, okay, this looks better. I like this better. I didn't think any of the wood was gonna look good, and so cement is usually my to-go towel. I do like the texture, the way it looks, the way it feels, what it brings to a build for me. And I do like the brick and the cement. My first town in the old videos, that's what it was. That's a lot of it was a lot of brick, because I was using a lot of brick in those build and with the cement. So I'm used to it. I do feel like it looks good. But if it looks off to you, just like always, find what works for you, what looks good, and you may love the brick on brick and the different height level and all that. I needed a little more separation between the different heights to create that feel of separation. Okay, so now I decided at first I was gonna leave the back a little lower, because I was thinking putting crates and all that stuff back there. But you know what? I decided to change it, and I add this little extra greenery. And the greenery was more an effect for the back. So when you're walking on the back of the street and you're looking into the building, then you have like what you see first, and then you see the hedges again, and then you see the building. It just to give it a little bit more height, and I thought the hedges was great. John is very happy. We were just chatting there. He doesn't design. He doesn't have any input. I'm telling you, I asked John many questions, and he's like, just do whatever you want, mate. Just do whatever you want. He's happy with whatever you put. I was like, really? Like, because Franklin had a lot of opinions, and I told him that. And John's cool. He's like, hey, whatever you give me, whatever you put, that's how it's gonna look. And he's very chill guy. So we left it at that. We kept it simple. So, and that gave me the confidence. See, John gave me the confidence that it doesn't matter. Whatever I do was gonna be okay. He was gonna be happy, and he's just glad that he has his own place in the coastal town, and we're happy. Okay, so going back now, we are fixing some of the bridges. I realized that, hey, I'm getting a little too high, those little sections right there. I'm adding a little bit of greenery because that's something that I did on all the other bridges on the other side of the coastal town. So I kind of want to match what I've done on the other bridges, match them over here. That way everything's kind of just together, you know, the town is in uniform, let's put it that way, and working in harmony. Okay, so the next thing, this is something that we done in my boat dock build, right? And I like the aesthetic, and I was like, okay, so now this is the first time that we're not gonna have a wall behind it, something to hide the back. But I wanted to put a lot of crates in John because John is a merchant. So I'm figuring that he's getting a lot of stock, a lot of stuff, a lot of crates, so he can sell the stuff that he's getting, or maybe he's gonna cheap out a lot of stuff at some point. But I wanted to feel like they're stacked in this corner and not just flat, right? Just completely flat. So I thought about the boat dock design, the way we made the illusion of making the boxes feel like they're stacked. And it's great, like you see right here, it's all crates, but there was something else missing, and what was missing is the barrels. The barrels for me does make the illusion of the height different. So you got like this crate over here, and then you got the barrel, and then everything gets higher. So I ended up raising the crate in the middle one more height, and then work my way down once again. And we're gonna go back to it because as I was looking at it, I was like, it just needs something more. Just let's create. I want to make that illusion come a reality, like everything is stacked, and like we're just stacking all these crates. And then we're gonna add a little extra decoration. We're gonna put like a fossil, when we put an amber, we're gonna put the wheelbarrow there, and all of that is gonna blend together very, very well. And I do feel like we are slowly creating that illusion that somehow we are able to stack all these crates in here and create that illusion of height. And the best way that I could do it is, once again, for the where you put in the crates on, I made it dark wood. The dark wood, that way it's just kind of a little more hidden from all the crates and all of that. And you see, and then by putting the amber in different places, I ended up putting the amber on the wheelbarrow. Eventually I do got more amber on the old town, and I'm gonna grab some and bring them over here, and some fossils, and just kind of spread them out on top of the crates or the barrels to create even more height. And once we did this right here, I do feel like it looks great. And then the last touch that we needed, that we end up doing, is we're actually gonna use the same fence, the tin fence that we did the parking lot. We're gonna put it just around in this little section where John said. At first I was trying to fill it with barrels at the very end. Did not love it, did not like it. It just, now it felt like I had way too much. It just way too full. For my taste, it just didn't feel right. And that's when I thought of, okay, let me put the same fence I just did on the parking lot. And I do like, and the main thing is you gotta try, right? You gotta trial and error. And all this is what's always gonna do. Like, I tried it on the side there and I was like, nope, I don't like that. I just like it halfway towards the back. From the back of the build, it looks good. Don't like it more towards the front. It's a no. I just did not like that. But once I didn't like that, the next thing was I still did not like the front. I did not like this corner. It wasn't flowing. It did not feel right. It felt a little crowded because the way everything's coming down. So this is when I was thinking, okay, what can I do to make it feel better, fit better, and just make sense with the space that I have, you know? And then the next thing I thought about it was, well, what if I do a dock? Because all these crates are coming in. They're coming in somehow. So somehow somebody's gotta have to park, unload, and all that. And once I started thinking like that helped a lot. And so we put a couple of the stone pillars that I really love. Now we're gonna cut in more into the brick area. And then we're gonna put steps, we're gonna put the stairs, and then they open up this area. It created that illusion of openness. So, and as you can see, we haven't expanded. We haven't added more space or more, just make it wider or anything. We're still working with the space that I created. Because if I want to make it any wider, I have to move the bridge, and I kind of like where the bridge at. That's something that I was working on in the beginning of the video to see if I wanted to move the bridge, if I needed more space. But at the end, I felt like I have the right proportions and the right size for everything that I wanted to do. So it was just more working this, keep working it, keep adjusting, keep doing what you need to do to make the build feel right. And this is why it takes time, trial and error, come back a day, take a break, do what you need to do something else, come back and look at it again. And that's what I kept doing. You see me working in other areas, then come back, work in another area and come back, because you need that moment. I do feel that you always need that little breathing room. That way you don't make your final choice like that. You just don't want to make it so quickly. If you had doubts, come back, do something else, and then come back, look at it again. And when you come back, if you look at it like, you know what, I liked it, then great, you keep it, you're done. And if you come back and you go, man, I still do not like this, it's just not working, all we need to do, you just gotta keep trying, because the longer you keep trying, you're gonna find the right combination, the right spot, the right way, and then it's gonna feel perfect and it's gonna work out just great. And then you're gonna have the area that you wanted to be, that was created, that exactly the way you wanted it. Okay, so you saw me tweaking that a little bit more there. And this, the crate scenario, creating that illusion, you know, when you approach that and when you're building that and you're trying to create that high, you can go really high. You just gotta play with it to the point that when you're looking at it, you are believing the illusion and that it looks good. So sometimes it's by placing different things in different height, in different places. And once you do that, just keep working at it, and to the point that you feel, wow, it looks like they're stacked, then you're done. You got that portion of the build. Okay, so what you just saw, I just took out a little more of that second platform. Now we're a little more closer to the building, and now we got the stairs. Now the stairs and the steps that I had in there, some of them I like, some of them I didn't like. So those we're gonna also keep tweaking around and moving them around until we can find, because the idea is to create that space that it feels open, but it still feels functional. Because I think that's one of the most important part, is it's just not just making it for aesthetic. Sometimes everything is aesthetic. Let's really be true to that. Sometimes I'm building and it's just for aesthetic. It doesn't even make sense why I'm putting something there. Or sometimes if I am trying to do aesthetics, but if the aesthetic that I'm building now makes everything make no sense, then that does bother me. So right here, I wanted to feel this little section right there, the dog. The steps looks good, but something is off, and it's just because they're too close to another. So the best way that I could do this was kind of like separate them a little bit more and create that little extra gap, that little extra opening. It just made it feel a little more open for me, and it just helped me. And once I did that, it's now we're moving. Now everything is just flowing, everything is working, and I feel like we're getting somewhere. So the next thing to do is something that I like to do is add benches throughout my roads, throughout my sidewalks. You know, sometimes I do have room enough that I don't have to put the benches on the sidewalks, but on this one and this particular build, this particular side of the town, they're on the sidewalk. You know, maybe realistically, maybe I wanted to have 2 deep sidewalks, but this is the way it turned out. This is the way we have it. I have it right now, and I think it looks good. You know, I think it just feels right. It looks good, and I feel like it makes the roads not feel too empty as you're walking or driving, because I think having these benches here, it just gives it a little bit extra to the build. I love how those came out in that corner. It just looked really really good. I just like the way that came out right there. And this one I went kind of double in a lot of areas. I put 2 benches here, 2 benches here, 2 benches here. And when it comes to the benches, you just gotta try it just like everything else, like every item placement. Put them up, put them down. Don't like it, try it out, and just trial and error. When it comes to item placement, as you can see through all the videos, if you're new here and this is your first video, then I will tell you, placing items is just trial and error. It just takes time to find the right combination, the right way. Maybe you put something down and then later on you're thinking, you're like, oh, this will work better in this section instead of what I put in, and then go get it, put it down, and then when you put it down you're like, oh no, wait, never mind, that looks worse. And that's how it is. So never be discouraged when you're placing your items, because you just gotta keep trying them in. Just try it until you find the combination that you need. But slowly, I do feel now slowly we're getting to that point. The build is coming alive, the build is getting together, everything is looking good, and then now it's feeling more finished, right? Everything is just finished, like it's all together. So here we are. We're gonna be doing our final walk to see how the town's looking. There was just a few changes off camera that I did while I was at work, like always, but they're just as aesthetic changes that you may not even see, but they're just little changes that we have done. Some of them were along the bridges, just lowering the size, and then we put that little palm wood fence to make it look like rails, so that was a little change. We did finish adding the fence on the parking lot area, that makes it feel a little more finished. But as we're looking, see how everything is flowing, everything is grown. You see all the palm trees, everything just looks full, it looks natural. I like that you can see through it, but at the same time it feels like you got enough foliage in the air, like just filling up the area. I like this little hallway, this little walkway leading to John's. I do feel like it turned out really good. It just leads you to the bridge, and it looks good. The view looks good. You got the palm trees and all that. I like this little dock area, and I do like it with the dark wood. I just think dark wood as a boat dock looks really well, and it matched perfectly John's place. And here we have a little view of the wild animals that we actually left. I think that's also gonna be good. And there in that section, I kind of want to do a waterfall design at some point if it works out, if it looks good. We'll see if we can make it happen. So here we're walking, just walking this area. I wanted to see how everything looks now from way up high, and I do feel what we managed to do in this corner. And don't forget, all that corner, if this is your first video you're watching, all there was a lot of water. We filled all this up to make this area work to attach and come around to the front of the town. And I think all the bridges, everything looks good. And now we're gonna get a little air view, so kind of we see kind of like the layout, how the layout actually turned out, how the roads are looking, how they're curving. I do feel like they're curving good. I do like how the palm trees, where they're laying, they're at. And I like how this now is flowing with the rest of the coastal town. There's our big boat dock area, we got our pool, we got the front of the town, and John is here. Now John's in the coastal town. We got two of the NPCs in the coastal town. So it's a happy moment. And yeah, I hope that you all have enjoyed this video. I know it was a little more nitpicking in the final stages of the video and just doing the final changes. We worked with John with the space that we had. You can see kind of the struggle that we go through to make something look good and a way that you like it. But at the end, I do feel like everything came out in a good way and it feels right. And when I look at the build, I do feel happy. I do feel comfortable with the way everything came out, and it's just a happy moment every time we get to the end of a build, an end of a section, and when everything is just working together, it's just such a good feeling. But we made it to the end of the video. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and we'll see you next time. Alright, see you later. Bye.